Dew point. When a sponge becomes saturated with water, the water starts to drop from the sponge. Likewise, when air becomes saturated with water vapor, the water vapor condenses and water vapor condenses into a liquid. If the temperature is above, say, 0 C, dew forms. If the temperature below is 0 C, ice crystals or frost form. High in the atmosphere, saturated air forms clouds. When temperature decreases, air can hold less moisture. Eventually, the air becomes saturated, condensation occurs, and dew forms. The dew is the temperature at the air where it is saturated and condensation can occur. Clouds and fogs. Think about what happens when you exhale warm air on a cold day. The warm air you inhale cools. It reaches its dew point. You can see the water vapor condense into a foggy cloud in front of your face. Cools as it rises in the atmosphere. When the cooling air reaches its dew point, water vapor condenses on a small particle in the air and forms droplets. The droplets block and reflect light. This makes them visible as clouds. Clouds are water droplets of Earth's ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Clouds can have different shapes. Clouds can form at different altitudes within the atmosphere. Read the table below that describes different types of clouds. As clouds move, water and thermal energy are transported from one location to another. Recall that clouds reflect some of the sun's incoming radiation. Types of clouds: stratus cloud, flat, white, layered, and altitude up to 200 meters. Cumulus cloud, fluffy, heaped, or piled up, 2,000 to 6,000 meters of altitude. Cirrus clouds, YP, above 600 meters. A cloud that forms near Earth's surface is called fog. Fog is a suspension of water droplets of Earth's ice crystals close to or at the Earth's surface. Fog reduces visibility. Visibility is the distance a person can see into the atmosphere. Precipitation. Droplets in clouds form around small solid particles in the atmosphere. These particles might be dust, salt, or smoke. Precipitation occurs when cold droplets combine and become large enough to fall from Earth's surface, and becomes large enough to fall from Earth's surface. Precipitation is water in liquid or solid form that falls from the atmosphere. Types of precipitation: rain, snow, sleet, and hail are shown in the figure above. Rain is precipitation that reaches Earth's surface as droplets of water. Snow is precipitation that reaches Earth's surface as solid, frozen crystals of water. Sleet may start out as snow. The snow melts into rain as it passes through a layer of warm air and refreezes when it passes through a layer of both freezing air. Other times, sleet is just freezing rain. Hail reaches Earth's surface as large ice pellets. Hail starts as a small piece of ice that repeatedly caught is an updrift that within cloud too heavy it falls to Earth. Water cycle. Precipitation is an important process in the water cycle shown at the top. Shown in the figure above. Rain is precipitation that reaches Earth's surface as droplets of water. Snow is precipitation that reaches Earth's surface as solid water. Frozen crystals of water. Sleet may start out as snow. The snow melts into rain as it passes through a layer of warm air and refreezes when it passes through a layer of below freezing air. Other times, sleet is just freezing rain. Hail reaches Earth's surface as large ice pellets. Hail starts as a small piece of ice that is repeatedly caught in an updrift within a cloud. A layer of ice is added within each lifting. When it becomes too heavy, it falls to Earth. The water cycle. Precipitation is an important process in the water cycle, shown at the top of the next page. Evaporation and condensation are also important processes in the water cycle. The water cycle is the series of natural processes in which water continually moves along oceans, land, and atmosphere. Most water vapor enters the atmosphere through evaporation. Water vapor forms as it heated the ocean's surface. Water vapor cools as it rises in the atmosphere. The cooled water vapor condenses back into liquid. Eventually, droplets of liquid and solid water from clouds. Clouds produce precipitation. The precipitation falls to Earth's surface and later evaporates, continuing the cycle.